guys, it's April. This is the project that we're going to make. It is free in the Cricut Maker section, and this is going to be the first project, like I said, that I do with my maker. I have taped two of the pink mats together since I don't have my 24-inch mat, and I'm going to try it, as I mentioned before, and see if that will work. When you pull up your project, all your instructions are going to be there, and Cricut recommends, and I do too, that you, I'm sorry I dropped my glasses, that you read everything completely. Make sure you have everything on hand. This is a tool caddy that will go under the machine and hold essentials and things like that. Of course, they'll fit in the drawer as well, the door part. They've made that a little bit deeper, which is wonderful. I have other things in there, and then the cups on it are padded as well up here, but there's plenty of storage here. You have the two cups with the rubber in the bottom of them, so it doesn't damage your tools or bounce. I don't know if you noticed that with the Airs and the Airs 2, when you put them in there, I even bent one of my weeding tools dropping it in the cup. This is protected. But anyway, moving on, this is an intermediate project, and it will take a couple of hours. And the finished product, it tells you the sizes here. It tells you the dimensions. Here is what we need, and I have my floral fabric. That's going to be my pockets. And instead of the mint fabric that they chose, I chose a striped fabric. And you just have to be sure that you cut things like that straight. I'm sew all the time, so stripes are not a problem for me. But plaids, anything like that, you're going to want those to be cut square or you'll look lopsided. You're also going to need the fabric mat, 12 by 24. You're going to need double fold bias tape, which I bought some in the brown to match my fabric. I've got my thread, and I have a sewing machine. And here is where they tell you to read everything before you begin. So make sure you do that. Make sure the fabric is clean and dry and ironed. You want it to be as smooth on that mat as possible, because I can tell you right now, even though we have that rotary blade, if you have bumps and lumps and stuff in the fabric on that mat, it's going to cause it to skip. That's just the nature of it. If you've ever cut anything with a rotary blade in a quilting acrylic, then you know that it will do that if it's folded up. But you should always iron your fabric anyway. And then I don't have the pen, but I have a Recollections pen from Michaels. It's an opaque marker, and I tested it on a small corner of my fabric and put it on there, and then I went in and I washed it, and it did come out. Even if it doesn't come out, I'm not worried about it. It's just my tool pouch. Nobody's going to see it or use it but me. Well, you guys will see it because I'll show you the finished product. But I'm pretty sure that it will come out. If it doesn't, I'm not worried about it. This project is only going to cost me about $8, $9 for my fabric and my fusible webbing. So it's not that big of a deal. If it doesn't come out, I'll find a use for it. And then you just want to follow the instructions, read everything, how it's telling you to put it on the mat. If you put your mouse over the pictures here, because you can see there's no customization of this. It's make it or don't make it. And your customization is going to come in where on the fabrics that you choose. But you can see what they're telling you to do just by putting your mouse over these and looking at those photos step by step. So they have all of that in there for you. I'm going to go ahead and click Make It, because you're not going to be able to see that while it's cutting, but after it cuts, then I can go back and I can refer to it, or I can even pull up another page in another tab so that I can switch back and forth. Let's go down here to the Cricut Maker projects. I'm going to click See More, And then I'm just going to go up here and I'm going to do free for the Cricut maker because I know that's where it was at. I didn't want to do a paid one for the first one so that you guys, if you decided to make it, then it would be free for you as well. And then I can just switch back and forth here, or I can even pull this. I just clicked on that tab and I just held my mouse down and I pulled it out. And then I can even do a side-by-side where I can see both. So it tells me what I need to do. Not that big of a deal. I can see everything. If I want to make one window bigger than the other, I can do that as well. And I am using a Windows computer, so you guys should be able to do it if you're on a Windows. If you're on a Mac, I'm not sure, but I believe you can do it too. I just don't know how you do it. I'm going to go ahead and set up to cut this, get it on the mat, and I'll be back with you guys. Here we are loading the mat. I have the blade in, and we're going to see how this thing reacts. Let me check what it says on the screen here. And it's telling me that I need a larger mat, which we know, and I've done that. And then I'm going to hit continue. And it is recommended that this be cut right side up. I'm a little short down here, but I think I'll be okay. If I'm not, then I will redo that. But let's see. Okay, and it's asking me now on the screen the material. So I am going to go with a medium fabric like cotton. It's very lightweight, but it's not as light as silk. I've loaded the tools, and now it's telling me to press go. So let's take a look and see how this does. And that went right where my tape was, but it still marked it pretty well. So, right there on the edge of this mat. I don't know if you guys can see that. Right now it's writing. This is where it's taped together, and this is where it drew. So, it did a pretty good job so far, even though it's not taped down there. The material could wrinkle just a little bit while it's doing that, but I'm good with it. I think I can manage. If you're not an experienced sewer, I would make sure that you get it on there exactly right, because I'm hanging off a little bit on the edge over here as well, and you don't want to do that. I could see where it might get hung up and pull it loose with the track, which it's trying to do right there. It's only wide in one place. I just didn't want to try to pull it all off and redo it. And it's thinking. And let's unload. Oh, my material was close on one side, but it did cut it. I'm going to suggest that you cut your material an inch wider than what it said, maybe 2 inches, but it did. I had barely enough room on there, but it cut it perfectly. No problems whatsoever. So that's the first piece. I don't know if you guys can see this. The piece is a little long, and it does tell you that one part of the fabric for this project has to be cut by hand, and that is the backing that goes onto the table that the pockets are on. I have no problem with that. Most of the pieces are going to be cut. The other one is just a square cut. There's nothing to it really, but it is a large piece. This particular pattern had a larger piece in it that will not fit on mats. So I'm going to finish cutting this out, and then I'm going to get to sewing, and I'll be back with you. I thought you guys might just want to see this again with the second piece that I cut, and that's how easy it was. Cut perfectly, coming off the mat. That pen did mark and get all my lines on there. So now we're just left to doing the sewing. I'll be back with you guys shortly. Okay guys, since I saw you last, I have already cut the pieces by hand that they ask us to cut by hand. I have those two pieces right here. And then I've taken my bias tape that I got, let's see, and it's just one of the Sewology from Hobby Lobby brands. But I take mine and I iron mine so that it's flat and it doesn't have all the creases from being wrapped around the cardboard, because it makes it easier to work with. It only takes a few seconds. Just hit it with your iron wherever it's been creased over that cardboard to get that bend out of it. Then about every 3 or 4 inches I open mine up like this, and I press it down so that it's easier to work with there, because it'll keep folding back on you, coming back up tight until you, unless you press it every, see if you can get that on camera, see how it's folded up there, and even if I open it up, it tends to close back up on me while I'm working with it. So what I do is I press every 3 or 4 inches and just press it open flat so that it'll stay open for me. And I've already done these pieces, but then I lay my fabric, since both pieces are this is being sewn to the top of both pieces like this. I start at one end of one and I pin it all the way across. Oops, that's the back side. I pin it all the way across, and I don't cut this. I just go ahead, because I've got it open, I lay my other piece of fabric in there, I pin it all together, and then I just stitch one continuous line until I've got them all done. But I do make my stops at the beginning and the end of each piece. So you only have like a little 1/4 inch where you don't have a stop, but they'll be together on the thing, and you'll just keep sewing until you've got it all done. That's the easiest way, and that way you don't have to stop and get another piece, and you could just do it all at one time. It'll save you some time. So that's what they have you do on the first 2 pieces. Get those ready. You decide beforehand, before you put this on, which side you want your smaller pockets on. You can do them either way. So if you want them on the right, then you would turn it this way. And if you want them on the left, like they have it, you're going to turn it this way, where you've got all those markings for the tools here. Okay, and I will go to the next step, and I'll be back. Okay guys, I'm back. Our next step was to place these two together and stitch on all of the solid lines. And I noticed while I was doing that I could just rub that Recollections marker, and it was basically coming off of the fabric. So that turned out great if you're in a jam like I was and wanted to get it done. But you're just going to stitch your solid lines. You're not going to do the end yet, just where your solid lines were, creating your pockets. I don't know if you guys can see that. Make sure I was on camera. But that's what we've done there. We went and stitched each and every one of those. And those are going to be a little hard to get your fingers into, but the Cricut tools should fit in there no problem. And they're going all the way through the bottom there because we haven't stitched that. So just make sure that all of your your tools will fit in the pockets there that where you did those solid lines, and then you're going to have a couple of bigger pockets. And then we'll move on to the next step, and I'll be back with you. Okay, our next step was to put our interfacing on the back side of your front piece, which your front and your back are identical. So just pick one of them and apply your interfacing to the. Okay, our next step was to take the interface piece, put it face down with the interface at the bottom, and pin your, I'm sorry, I bumped the camera there. You want to pin your pockets to the front of that piece, and then you're going to stitch that. And after I've done that, I'll be ready. Okay guys, I just left my pins in there. I pinned this all the way around just to keep it straight, and then I still got just a tiny bit off right here on one of my lines, but I'm going to live with it. I'm not going to rip that out just for time's sake. But you're just, on this one, you're going to stitch only your dotted lines. Where on the previous ones we did the solid lines to create the pockets. On this one you just did the dotted lines to create those pockets back into the back. Okay, and let's go on. Okay guys, here is the time if you want to add anything here to bling it up a little bit. Now's the time to do that. I have some rhinestones here. I'm just laying some stuff out just to take a look and see if I like it. That's okay. I have the rhinestones in there, but I don't know if you guys, if this is picking up on camera. I have like a glitter outline on all of these flowers. And in the stripes, there is also a glitter line going through there. So that looks okay to me. I don't have any of this blue color here. I really wish I had some of it, but I do have the green. And I kind of like that line, that ribbon line there. But this is where, if you put something like this on there, you want to make sure that you get it on straight, especially if you've done like I have and used a stripe. Because if you get it off, it's going to be noticeable. Let me see if I can pick that up and show you guys. I may have to get an overhead shot. But if you are off a little bit and it's down here and you've got an inch on one side, and then down here you've got an inch and a half or an inch and a quarter, it will show. So make sure that you get that on there completely straight, so that if you add this, and I may, let's see, I'm sort of liking that. I may just go ahead and bling that up just a little bit. Like I said, this is for me and just my crafty work area. So let me do that and I'll be back with you. Okay guys, I did contact somebody at Cricut to let them know that all the instructions were not there for this piece. So it may be corrected before you get to it. But if it isn't, make sure that before you put your bias tape on around these edges, that you put your backing piece on there, because you don't want that fusible webbing to show on the back. You want to have your finished piece on there, and just to save you some time, and then you can run your trim all the way around, and that will complete your project. Let me go and do that, and then I will come back and show you guys the finished product. Okay guys, I'm back. I ran out of bias tape. I bought one pack because the directions were showing that it just needed a package of the bias tape, and it comes in a 3-yard pack. And as you can see, I am about, I don't know, 18 inches maybe. Well, that's 12. And say 4, that's 16. Yeah, about 18, maybe 20 inches shy. So I'm going to have to go to the store tomorrow and pick up another pack, because I don't have any more of the brown. But it is basically finished. I'm still going to take my photo, and because this will be under the machine, it won't be seen anyway. But don't leave yours like this. Make sure that you buy 2 packages and finish your project. and I'll get mine finished tomorrow, but I'm going to go ahead and upload my video and take my photos tonight and get that ready for you guys. You have a wonderful crafting day. I appreciate you joining me. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and come on over and join the Facebook groups. We have 2 groups now, Cricut Crafting and Cricut Maker Projects. So please come over and join either group or both. Have a wonderful day. Make something beautiful. And here it is finished. I'll pan down a little bit so you guys can see. Don't mind my dog's bed. She's in my crafting room when I craft. But that's basically the way that you're going to do this. And then we have our tool pockets here on this side for pins. Whatever you guys want to put in there. The Cricut sewing kit, that's going to be great. I think that's going to fit in there well. And several tools. Even your cell phone will fit in there. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial.